Come on now. It says it's having trouble connecting. Hold on.
It's live.
Oh,
It's
okay.
live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Here we go.
My thoughts have never been clearer. I see what you're doing to me now. They lie, they steal, they fooled us. Deep down I probably knew this. I think I will be holding on to the one thing that I know is stronger. Love is blind and no one's perfect. Platinum seems so sharp.
Okay, we're trying to start over. Good morning. Good morning. Oh my God. It's like, no, we're trying. I'm not okay. We already just did video. Come on. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you and welcome to another early morning podcast here at the Healing Factor. And I have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful woman with me, Reverend. She's a sister from G100. When I was a part of G100, she's a sister from EAS. She is wow. We have been working with each other for a while now, and it is such a pleasure to have you on the show with me. This is she's also my sister at the University of Metaphysics. So we have some history together, and it is such a blessing to have her on here all the way from Grenada. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
going to introduce you. This is everyone. I want you to meet Reverend Joslyn. How do you say your last name? Is it
Farray Pierre.
Farray Pierre? Okay, thank you. Because you know what? I've always said Reverend Joslyn. Oh my God. Welcome to the Healing Factor, Reverend Joslyn. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh boy, it's a pleasure being here.
Yes, it
Real
is.
pleasure to be on with you.
Oh my God. So, Reverend Joslyn, tell us who you are. What is it that you do? Give us an introduction.
Well, Reverend Mel, there's a lots of things to me, but uh, I am a mom. I light. What I wanted to say first is I am light.
Okay.
Yes, I am light.
I like that.
And some of the roles that I play are a metaphysician, as Reverend Welch said earlier on. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, an international speaker, writer, and writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I go by the name of Intuitive Wellbeing Institute. I presently I am the CEO of in Intuitive Wellbeing Institute. Sorry, I said I go by the name of Intuitive Wellbeing Educator, and I'm the CEO of Intuitive Wellbeing Institute.
Okay.
And of course, this is all about teaching, coaching, and helping people to reach their full potential.
Okay.
Um, that's what I'm all about. In particular, owning your personal power. And that came about because of my own experiences. And
Okay.
I zero in a lot also on helping folks to dwell a lot on their what I call sacred self-care. So we're starting from the inside and going out and taking care of ourselves to be the
Mm-hmm.
best that we can, to do the work that we came here to do. Yeah,
I
so
love
that's
it.
a little bit about myself.
So tell us about your some of the things that you actually do, because I know I've seen you do the Monday segments that you've always shown with everyone. Tell us about that a little bit.
Ah, Meatless Monday came from way back. It started, my background is in teaching,
Mm-hmm,
and one of the subject that I taught years ago was food, nutrition, and health.
mm-hmm,
And so Meatless Monday came about from wanting to do, I actually started Meatless Monday without knowing that there was an international, well-established organization. It came up, I said, I started sharing with people on how, you can eat to be healthy, and you don't have to eat boring foods to be eating healthy and all those things. And so I
mm-hmm,
said, what day can I use? And I was labeling those days. And then I said, well, we can go meatless because I was big on plant-based eating.
mm-hmm.
And I also know that some folks do not want to be vegetarian. But if you don't want to be vegetarian, you can still have meatless days. And so that's where Meatless Monday came from. And eventually I learned that it was this international organization. I touched base with them.
Mm-hmm.
I signed on the pledge, and we had a whole movement, our own local movement with Meatless Mondays. The ladies every Monday we'd come together. They would do their dishes. They would
Mm-hmm.
post it. I run challenges.
Mm-hmm.
It was an exciting time. And now I'm still doing Meatless Monday, but I want the focus to be on our African heritage. And it has nothing to do with, yes, it's African or national on our sorry, ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if I pronounce the word wrong, but it's for everyone. And so
Mm-hmm.
I want folks to develop that appreciation. Where I am here in the Caribbean, lots of time I find that we do not have enough knowledge and information about our history. And
Mm-hmm.
what a great time we're talking about this. It's
Black history.
Black History Month. I
Yes.
didn't even realize that. Yes, so I want folks to really develop an appreciation for the African culture. And a lot of times before, my thinking was African meals were not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and they were more or less all these soul food dripping with oil and all the bad fats and so on. And
Mm-hmm.
then as I studied that African heritage syllabus, I realized that we are steep and healthy, and everything came from us. Oh, that's a whole conversation in itself. So that's where meatless, that's the strive for Meatless Monday now. We're leaning into learning about our African heritage, preparing all the wonderful dishes, the healthy
Mm-hmm.
dishes, strictly plant-based. It doesn't mean that you cannot, because our African ancestors, they ate meat also, but it wasn't like a major aspect of their diet. It was a
Mm-hmm.
lot to do with ceremony and so on. So yes, you can still have your meat, but the emphasis is on plant-based.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love it. I love your segments. I think you should continue it because it inspires to me to continue my track, but it also inspires everyone because we all need to get back to the to our roots of being healthy. We need to
Yeah.
understand that the diets that we have taken on aren't healthy for us, and then we don't realize it until we get into our 40s and 50s, and we're at the doctor's office taking medications that really aren't helping. They're just covering up the symptoms. And if we get back to nature, and a lot of things we can heal from. Like right now, I'm a lot of foods that I used to eat, I can't eat anymore. It's not that I don't want to eat it. I may have a cheat day, a treat day every now and then, but not too often. I'm off of the foods with gluten. You know,
Mm.
um,
Yes.
if I eat out, it's gonna be like at a restaurant out more than a fast food restaurant. I'm leaning more towards the foods with more vegetables and meat, protein. You know, the things that are healthier.
Yes.
It helps so much because anytime I eat gluten and I put gluten in my body, it literally hurts. And a lot of most of the world, not a lot people, some people do know, but a lot of people do not know that our bodies were not created to consume processed foods for one, gluten for two. And a lot of the grains that we're eating are still, even those, some of those, a lot of the grains are not good for us. And
That's
it
so true.
affects us later on in life. And it's like, that hurts. Why is it? Because we weren't supposed to be eating it. So,
Absolutely.
so I love the fact that you're doing these different dishes and everything. It inspires me because I may be, excuse me, how did you make that? So don't be
Yes,
shocked.
and another thing, as you touched on, a lot of things that we're supposed to be eating, we're not supposed to be eating. We have it. It's also important to know that a lot of folks, we what we call bio individuality. A lot of times we eat our body. We have our own individual makeup. So one person meat, maybe another person's poison also. So you got to have an idea of how your body is made and the type of food that works best for it, that will fuel it. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that too. I love that. You made a point. You actually make a point because we were talking to a young lady last night. Her name is Samantha, and she's not technically gluten intolerant, but at the same time, put it like this: she's gluten intolerant, just like I am. Hers is so much more major. She gets inflammation like crazy in her stomach, and so she does a lot of gluten-free foods. And I'm proud of her because she's such an inspiration. But she's also come off of medications and everything that pharmaceuticals have given us. So she's really going straight holistic. So she's doing everything she can to remain healthy. And she got back onto working out because of the gluten wasn't hurting her knees and everything. And, she lost 25 pounds in 3 months. I'm like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Right. Exactly. So Samantha, if you do see this segment, it's too early in the morning right now. I'm pretty sure you're asleep. But when you see this segment, I want to say congratulations to you for everything that you're doing. You are an inspiration, and believe it or not, I want to have you, Samantha. She lives like 5 minutes away from me. I want to have her on the segment with me because this is not just about one race or anything. This is about all of us trying to get healthy. And like you said, understanding our bodies, because however I was raised was different from how someone else was raised, and those are the things that we have been consuming in our bodies. So now all of a sudden our bodies are saying, no, you can't have that. Okay, but no, you can't have that. Maybe you can have a little bit of that, and maybe you can have some of this, but it just depends on how and where we came up,
Exactly.
So I love how you said that. That made so much sense. So with that being said, what can you tell me your story? Tell us how you got to the intuitive well-being. How did you get to this whole, tell us where you came from and how you got to this, tell us your story.
It's a long story. Let me see if I can condense this, Reverend.
There you go.
So I did mention earlier that my background was in as an educator, and as an educator, I taught food, nutrition, and health. I also taught English language and a number of other subjects. So coming from the system, I always felt, and as well as doing that, I was deeply steeped in religion. I'm deeply, deeply Christian. I tell folks I used to be in the church building, like 7 days a week. I could list all the things I was doing 7 days a week in church, and so and I took it seriously, and I want to put a pin because I learned that's where my base came from. I'm grateful for Christianity.
Amen. Yes.
I'm very grateful because it is what I was able and allowed Spirit to build on. But in that, there was always that craving, that hunger for more. And there were things that was coming up for me that I just couldn't understand. Like one of the things that was coming up for me, I think I put it on my Facebook page recently, is I was always constantly reading that scripture, and it was saying, greater works than Christ shall we do. But I felt within the church, I wasn't seeing the greater works, and no one wasn't sharing the greater works. And here Christ was on this pinnacle, and I was always meant to. It was always. Nobody said, that Christ is in you. Yes, we said, but they never acted. That Christ consciousness is in you. And yes, he came, he walked this earth, but beyond that, we can do the things that he do and more. So I was always forever looking for that. That was one aspect. And but what brought me to the point of intuitive well-being educator was one of my rock bottom moments. And I had many of those. And I'm grateful for them. And I am not feeling bad about them. And I'm saying this because I want folks to know, even from now, your rock bottom moments are great moments. Your rock bottom moments are moments where you can build and grow. Because it is in one of my rock bottom moments where I felt that I didn't have anything, and I was crying. The old pull me one story, and also getting soaking in from the folks around me all the things which I consider to be negative, forgetting all the wonderful and great things that were happening to me at the time. So from those rock bottom moments where I and just to reiterate, like I said, I had many rock bottom moments. I had rock bottom moments when I left my marriage from my childhood sweetheart. And I felt we had a wonderful thing, still think we had a wonderful thing. I walked out of that marriage with a baby girl. Well, when I say baby, she was just around 6-7 years at the time. Then I had a rock bottom moment when I lost my son, my firstborn. That hit me pretty hard. And I also want to say, within those rock bottom moments, I felt God, I felt spirit, whoever you want to call your creator. I felt that. And I understood during those moments what it meant to have the peace that surpasseth all understanding. I also want folks to know that it is in these moments I understood what true faith is all about. Yeah? So I felt, but this particular rock bottom moment was a rock bottom moment where I felt I didn't have money. And that rock bottom moment helped me to recognize that I was putting the currency of money as taking it as my God. And to know I'm working on that, because my God and my source was right in here, right within me. Exactly. But I didn't recognize that. So this was what how intuitive well-being, and it's a process because I'm still working on this. But from that rock bottom moment came sacred self-care, because it is in this rock bottom moments I truly understood who spirit is, who I am, what I am, and the power that I have. And the power, and when I say I am talking about the collective, the power that we have together too. So it was in this moment. And there was a couple of things that I learned, and that's I came up with the program Sacred Self-Care. Because in this rock bottom moments, I was always a journaler, but I journal more. I learned about crystal. I didn't know about crystals back then. I picked up stones, and those stones ministered to me. So nobody can tell me crystals are demonic. Right? I'm talking to those Christians now a little bit. And I'm not bashing anyone. I'm just sharing my experience and what happened. The next step. Yes. So it's in this rock bottom moments where I came upon the intuitive well-being educator was born, because I learned now about truly tapping into myself. Um, the little I knew about meditation back then, I hated meditation. I didn't want to. My stillness, of course, back then was walking, and that's one way of how I was. The spirit was able to minister to me, walking meditation. But my idea of meditation back then was this. Where I had to maybe sit for 3 hours in silence and so on. Now I have a whole different approach. And of course, I've learning coming from a program with meditation dynamics and learning now to sit. I have been able to master what I used to consider to be extremely boring. Yes.
I get that. I remember that moment too. Meditation dynamics is really, really good.
Yes. You know, there were times I would fall asleep on myself and all those things. No, it's a whole different thing, you know, going through the program, going through the course. But it was in that rock bottom moment I came upon IIM, our International Metaphysical Ministry. It was in those rock bottom moments that I learned about flower essences, something that we can use to heal and work on our emotions. And my teas, yes, I was always into teas, but it took on a whole different meaning. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, the rock bottom moments set me up on a solid foundation, and it showed me who I am. It showed me my wealth. It showed me that I was prosperous right here, right now. I'm not saying it to believe it. I am what I am.
Yes.
And yeah. So it was in those moments where I stopped. It really taught me about gratitude. Of course, I was a kind-hearted person saying thank you for the things I received. But those things now took on a greater meaning and greater value. So I was no longer taking things for granted.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
It taught me how to truly love my sister. Yes. It taught me how to truly love my sisters, both my blood sisters and my soul sisters, without competition. Now, yes, we can have healthy competition. And trust me, Reverend Mel, if you're ready for competition, a healthy one, we're going to have it. But when it comes to destruction, hell no.
Right. We're not having it. We don't need it. We have enough of that.
We're not having that. Exactly. That's not in our space. Because we are building material wealth now. We are calling in the wealth that we have now. And we cannot call in the wealth that we have now without tapping into each other. And that for me is all sacred self-care. Because what I've learned to do as I learned to take care of myself and truly love myself, it is a process. I'm still learning to love myself. It's the hardest thing out for me. I was not taught to love myself. And I didn't come from a background where I was being beaten and bullied in the most obvious way. But I did not know how to truly love myself. I learned to shrink myself. I was shrinking. And it is in that rock bottom moment I learned to truly appreciate that beautiful person that I am, that God made me. Yeah? And that came about through sacred self-care. It came about through meditation. It came about through tapping into my natural resources. It came about through being able to receive love from my sisters. You talk about G100 oneness and wisdom. It came about through that also. You know, Mel? So us talking, it's truly, I don't want to go off, but it's truly
This is your show, honey. Go ahead.
that's a little bit about who I am and where I came from, how I came to be the intuitive well-being educator.
Mm-hmm.
It's purely intuitive. Everything from step to step came from the heart, came from listening
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to take the action. It came from that. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That is totally,
Thank you.
totally. That's deep. That's you said so many different things that are over so many people's heads, and it's like I'm gonna tap into one again. I'm gonna pull it back up again really quick. Christ consciousness.
Uh,
This right here is this. I don't. A lot of people see this and they don't understand what Christ consciousness is. Um, and it took me a minute because I remember when I first started understanding Christ consciousness, it was way before I started at the University of Metaphysics. I just didn't have a way of explaining it until I understood who Jesus was and then who Christ was. Because there was when I was in the middle of that transition from coming out of the church and just going on this path by myself, I was like, okay, God, you need to tell me the truth. I need the truth. And I need to know it now. I don't care how I find out, but I need to know you and me because I'm not going back to another church until you show it to me. So I had came across it one day and I'm like, I said, and they, for some reason, what's funny about it is Spirit told me, make the announcement, and say that you're coming out of the church. And I knew, I was like, and I'm sitting up on the side of my bed. I just came home and that evening something said, do it. I'm like, do what? You know what to do. Okay. So, and everything inside of me is like, oh God, I said, do you really want me to really? Why am I doing this? I'm having this conversation at home by myself. Took a deep breath and got on there. And I'm like, okay, didn't know why I needed to do it, but I think I did it because then I needed to be able to be free from what the world deemed me to be or what most mankind deemed. So I literally came on there and I can't even remember where the confession is, but I did repost it. It should be somewhere within a month now that I reposted it. And it was talking about me no longer, and it sounds so evil when you hear it, but it's like I said I was no longer a Christian. I said I'm not in Christian.
okay.
And I swear everyone that knew me is like, oh, I mean, I literally was like, oh my God, I'm gonna pray for you. What are you gonna do? What's gonna happen to you? You need to be in a church. And I mean, like they got so, and the thing about it is at the time, I'm glad that I was with another following another person. His name was Frank. I can't remember his last name. And he was breaking down the things like the Merkaba and all those things in the language. And, and a lot of people, the way he did it, it was kind of comical, but it was serious at the same time. Some people just got on there just to see him because he reminds you a lot of the rapper Jay-Z when you see him. And he knew how to act just like Jay-Z. So a lot of people, when they came on there, they were entertained more by that than they were about him spitting the knowledge. So I believe that now that he was doing that to separate the wheat from the tares, who's really in this for real and who's really here for entertainment. So that was, a lot of the beginning of breaking down the understanding of Christ consciousness. A lot of people look at everything from the outside and we don't realize when, who is it? Neville Goddard. Have you ever heard of him? He broke it down and he told us, I'm like, Christ was literally the man. But when we're looking at the Bible, we're looking at it from certain standpoints and we need to see certain things. We need to put them in certain perspectives and he started talking about how Christ is literally God within us. Jesus was Jesus, He was a teacher. He was all those things that we get to be while we're here on earth. But when we are finally get to that, everyone's on that wave of waking up. Okay, you need to be awake. And a lot of people didn't understand it. Then some people got frustrated because they heard about being awake. And they're like, I'm tired of hearing about being awake. And I was still trying to understand it because I didn't know how to explain it. But I knew I was on that journey. And I was coming out of my dark night of the soul, and I was going through my healing process. So I didn't know how to explain it, but I knew that's where I was going. So then he broke it down, and he was talking about how Jesus was the man. But then when Jesus did that transitioning of remembering who he was and why he really came down here, all of a sudden his remembrance of him came about, and then came the Christ. So I was like, You guys kidding me? I'm like, the Christ. So he's like, and the Christ is God within all of us. And we don't get to that point of saying that or even walking in until we understand that is that, because God has always been in us. It hasn't never stopped. And we don't, I mean, if I were to even take it even deeper, just to say we are the living God. And that's what makes us Christ. But we have to come to that awakening, is remembering who we are, because we're so stuck on this.
Yes, I mean, one of the things that helped me is like the death and the rebirth, and rebirth. And once we can understand that rebirth is that Christ consciousness in us, much as what you're saying, the awakening. And it's always there, can never leave us, will never leave us, will never forsake us. We are God. Folks don't like to hear it because they're taking it from the ego standpoint. But when you truly recognize that you are God, walking, talking, then you would never be puffed up. You would never be walking in ego. That's when true humility stems forth. And it's not about humility being stupid either, because humility is not stupidity.
Right.
So these are things, these are things that folks doesn't recognize, or they sometimes fail to, because coming to an acceptance of knowing that Christ is in you, and there are certain things, there's responsibility on you, and that responsibility is great. Doing the work of dying to self and ego, man, and all things, it's not an easy thing. It's not easy. So yes, I'm so happy you brought that up. Christ consciousness. It's the Christ within us, not Christ or Jesus on the outside. Yes, Jesus walked the earth. He set an example for us as a human being. But beyond that, the greatest example he set for us was to ensure that we know what Christ consciousness is.
And what we are.
Yes. Walking in it, accepting it, living it, teaching it. Yeah. So yeah, that Christ consciousness, it's not on the outside. It's not up in the heaven. It's not up in the sky, I should say. It's here.
It is. It's always here.
On a vast, big universe.
I think so many people are so scared of saying that because they feel like they're blaspheming. I'm like, you don't even realize what blaspheming is. People have taken that word alone and ran with it and say, don't blaspheme God. I'm like, you don't even realize what blaspheming God is. So hush. That's what I really want to say, but I keep my mouth shut,
Blaspheming God to me is you weakening, making God look as a little puppet on a string. You making God look as if he cannot provide. You making God weak. You saying with your mouth that I am God, I'm Christ, I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and all those things. And at the same time, you rendering him helpless in your life. That's blasphemy.
And as well as the I am power. that we hold
Yeah.
within us. You know, we don't realize that when we say, I am weak, I can't do it, I don't have any money,
Uh,
all the negatives, we don't
uh,
realize that that's
that's
literally,
blasphemy.
that's blaspheming right there. Every time you say anything
Yes.
negative that you can't do or you don't have and you won't get, and you know, it's easy to say this is what I want, but then the minute you say this is what I want, but you just canceled it. That's your
Uh,
God-given power that you've given yourself. You don't realize that you have the power to get what you want, and you have the power to not get what you want based on your own thoughts, your own beliefs, and you speaking that. And every time you say you can't, you just blasphemed God within, because God is actually a living entity within us, having a human experience in this body that's just a costume. Oh my God, this feels so freeing to talk about. And
yes.
the connection is not there with so many humans because they're looking on the outside for something to help them when it's all has already always been within us. God is within us. Oh my God, I can't say that enough.
Exactly. And as we talk about that, a lot of the times what come up for me when people talk about, I want this and I can't have this and this, it comes back to the programming of us being not enough, not having enough, wanting to do things that is outside our scope as the particular role that we are supposed to be playing in a particular time. Yeah. So a lot of the times folks might say, oh, I have no money to do this and I have no money to do that. But I ask them, is that what you're supposed to be doing now? Because if you look, you'll recognize that you have what it takes to do what you have to do right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
God,
that's
remember
something
we had that conversation.
Yes. Folks like, do you have a common one, especially women like to bring up when it comes, I don't have a husband. Oh, wow. So I'm not complete. I'm not whole. I can't do this. I can't do that. What? Oh, yes. So I don't have enough money. What? So these are all the things, when you are out of alignment, when you are not tapped into Christ consciousness, you feel that lack. And folks on the outside may make you feel conscious of that lack.
Definitely. They will definitely make you feel that way.
What is the truth? What is the truth? The truth is you knowing that you can never lack. So that what you got to do at the time is tap back in. And for me, I say, get into the groove with sacred self-care. And when you get there, you recognize all along you had what you needed.
There you go.
So maybe you had what you needed. And it's not that you cannot get what you desire, whatever, but is it what you need for your assignment now?
So what would you tell everyone? Because some people don't know what sacred self-care is. What are some of the things that you could give a person to, to start off with with regards to sacred self-care? What would you tell them to do?
First of all, with sacred self-care comes you learning to tap into your inner source. And a major part of that would be meditation. You cannot have an excellent self-care program without the sacredness, without tuning in. So you can put on all the makeup, you can go and do all the pampering, drink the wine, put on the nail polish, do the facials, whatever it is you consider to be self-care. But it starts from the inside. It starts with you learning. And so another component of sacred self-care is you learning about your inner being. So that's where, again, we tap into the energy centers, your chakras, what it's for, how you can clean it, how you can clear it, how you can energize it. Those are the things. That's where we start from with sacred self-care. And of course, we come out. So that's when you would hear me talking about the meatless. So we want to talk about clarifying your diet. What is it are you supposed to be eating at this particular time? Because remember, there are seasons in your life. And there might be a particular food that you would love to eat, you would love, and it was working well for you back then. But at this season in your life, that food's not working for you anymore. So you need to learn how to get off of that and eat those foods that is in alignment with where your body is going and what your body needs and the type of work that you are doing. So that's another aspect of sacred self-care. And if you tap in, you will begin to reveal, there are things that you will begin to learn your body's needs, because our body talks to us all the time.
Yes,
all the time. Right. So that's one aspect. Then we have another aspect of sacred self-care where you learn to tap into your emotions. Again, that is, from, again, meditating, you would know. So you learn to become aware of who you are. Again, what is this saying to me? So let's say you have some feelings. The last time someone close to me said, I thought I got over that feeling of jealousy or envy or whatever. They said, or it might be a feeling of shame, a feeling of guilt is coming up. With sacred self-care, you learn not to dismiss it, not to sweep it on the carpet, not to feel bad about it, but to tap into it. So I'm feeling guilty. I am feeling jealous of this sister. Okay, I'm feeling it. It's all right. Now, what can I do with that? What is this saying to me? How can this help me? And that's where the flower essence is coming in sacred self-care. So when you feel sometimes what the flower essences help, it helps to bring up those feelings that you would have buried. And so as they come up, you can now begin to deal with it. So that's one aspect. Or it helps you to sit with that feeling and to glean from it, not to strew in it and to become it, but to learn to pick up, okay, what is this saying to me now? And how can I help that? So that's where our flower essences with sacred self-care comes in. So then another aspect of sacred self-care with very important is fasting. And I know a lot of folks, when they hear fasting, they may not take a breath anymore. They may feel, this thing is not for me. And it is important to fast. Our body was designed so we can fast. And fasting doesn't have to mean 40 days of fasting, although it could be. But yes. So it is fasting according to your body, how far you can go. You can start with intermittent fasting and you can build on that. For me, as I say, I'm a work in progress when it comes to fasting. There's so much I have to learn. I started fasting as a young person back in church because we had those rituals. What we're learning now, because back then I remember folks who were what we would have considered back then in the world, the medical field, they were laughing at us then. And no research, no science has aligned itself with what the Bible and all those other ancient books were sharing and seeing the usefulness, both physically, emotionally, mentally, all the calories that you can think about, psychologically, anatomically, all those things. When you fast, it helps. So, but the major thing in sacred self-care is helping you when you fast. When you fast, it helps you to regenerate much faster and
True.
rejuvenate much faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? So
Mm-hmm.
that's another aspect of sacred self-care.
I love it.
Fasting.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. You hit on some good things. Fasting, meditation. What was the third one?
Nutrition.
Nutrition. Those things
Yeah.
right there are so important because it cleanses so much out of you. It helps the pineal gland, which people don't even understand. And that's a whole nother segment. We can go deep in this, Dr. Reverend Johnson. We can really go. You know, we would have a whole session. People are like, wait a minute, what is this? I'm going to have you back on the show again, too. I think what I'm going to do is eventually one of my goals is to have you, Christina, Dr. Christina, Dr. Enoya. I'm going to have all of us on here, and we're going to have a one good old fashioned metaphysical, holistic session.
Yeah.
We may as well just go ahead on dive on into the rabbit hole, and we're gonna give people the information. Now, whether they do it or not, that's on them. But we're gonna feed the people what they need.
Oh yes.
I love it. I love it. So, can you tell me where can? Okay, wait a minute. One more thing before, because we're getting close to our time. What would you like to share with everyone? What would be something positive and encouraging that you would like to share with the viewers, you know, coming from the space that you've come from and where you're at now?
I would like to say to women, especially women who, like me, I was a very quiet person. And I felt that I didn't have a voice. And I also felt that if I didn't have a lot of material wealth, quote unquote, money in the bank, then I couldn't open my mouth and I couldn't be myself. Mm-hmm. Now, rock bottom taught me who I am, my true self. And I love, as an individual, I love the finer things in life. So I want to say to the women out there, this is for some specific women. You can be who you are. God provides for you all the time. Whether you think, you know, and this morning, I may not be, I hope I'm not hoping whoever have to get it will get it. Watch me.
That's it.
Be who you are. Nothing, absolutely nothing outside of you can define you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to list some things. Not your husband, not your boyfriend, not the money in the bank, not your parents, not your girlfriends, not your job. Mm-hmm. Nothing cannot define you except the truth of who you are. And you can only know that by tapping into your inner being. So the most important thing, and Reverend Mel would agree with me because she does a lot of inner work, is learning to sit with yourself and get real with yourself.
So important.
Learn to get rid of that worldly program. That program that's telling you that you have to have a 5-star hotel, and you need that 5-star hotel, by the way. But you're not less than if you don't have that 5-star hotel. So don't get me wrong. I'm big on money.
Yeah, we all are.
And I'm not afraid to talk about money either, because money is no longer my God. So it's important to know that. Mm-hmm. So what I want to leave as women is truly Stop saying be yourself and go about being yourself. And that takes work.
Yes.
If you can do it by yourself, hallelujah. But if you need help, go out there and get the help. Get that help. It's important to tap into your resources. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And don't be afraid to receive that help. And for those of you who have to give, whether it's the material resources or the other resources, the spiritual resources, be a cheerful giver. And by saying be a cheerful giver, I'm talking about when you're giving, don't allow people to feel less than. Yes, Reverend Mel?
I felt all of that. I'm over here trying not to cry. Like I felt every bit of that. That just hit me in my heart because you said so much that so many women need to hear, and they need to really not just hear it, but take it within and hear it with their hearts and their souls and their spirits, seriously, because if you don't love you first, if you don't love you the way you want to be loved, then no one else is going to love you the way you want to be loved. You are the fine print. You are the trailblazer for you. You are the blueprint. That's what I wanted to say for how you want to be loved. And if you don't have a blueprint, then you might want to just leave everything else alone until you create a blueprint. Thank you so much for those words. Those were powerful, inspirational, heartfelt. I felt every bit of what you just said. And wow. I'm blessed just to have you on here today. This is such a blessing. All the way from Grenada. So, Reverend Joslyn, where can we find, if someone wanted to contact you and they're on that part where you're at, where even if they're just wherever they want to be and they want to connect with you, how can they contact you?
Okay, my website is reverendjoslyn.com. I'm on social media, so you'll find me a lot on Facebook as Reverend Joslyn Farray Pierre or Intuitive Wellbeing Institute. I tend to teach a lot on Intuitive Wellbeing Institute. On Reverend Joslyn Farray, if you want to make connection, get a little bits and pieces of my life, you'll find me on that page. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn. On YouTube. I need to work on my YouTube channel, but I am there. There are things that you can glean there too. And I'm on IG, but I haven't been active on IG. So on all the social media platforms, most of them, I'm on them as Reverend Joslyn Farray Pierre or Intuitive Wellbeing Institute. Yeah.
All right, then. You know what? I am so blessed, and my prayers that everyone else who sees this is blessed as well. Please reach out to Reverend Joslyn. She is a wonderful spirit. She has a wonderful heart. She and I have been connected since 2021. And it has been nothing but a blessing. I mean, she was in Trinidad, Tobago then, and now she's in her homeland in Grenada. And I am one day going to end up down there eventually. I don't know when.
Yes.
So it's in the makings. But just like you said earlier in this segment, when it's time. So I know the time is going to come because the second half of my life is going to be lived the way I want to live it. So, and I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you so much. And your words, just the things that we talked about just gave me life, literally, so I appreciate that. Like I said, I will be having you on the show again with some other holistic metaphysical teachers and coaches and everything. We need to get this party started. It's time, it's no longer time for us to hide or just kind of be secretive. We need to just talk about it. And whoever, gleans it, and whoever don't, it's not their time yet. So, but we're here for a reason, and we're going to keep doing what we're supposed to do while we're on each of our individual journeys as we are together on this. So with that being said, did you have any final words?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Reverend Mel. It's a pleasure being on the program, a pleasure sharing with you. And what is much more important is you allowing us to share our heart, to be real, to be authentic. That doesn't come easy, and it takes courage to do that. And I thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for creating that beautiful space that you have created, and I pray a blessing on it.
Thank you so much. I love you so much. You have no idea. I love you. Love you to pieces. And with that being said, if anyone wants to contact me, you can reach me at rebirthdimension@gmail.com or Coach Melvie at rebirthholistic.com, or here on Facebook at Coach Reverend. Where am I? I can't remember. Coach Rev Melvina Ford. I had to change my name again. I changed my name 25 million times, so I need to stop doing that. I need to stop, but it's okay. So, I do coaching classes. I am a coach for the Empower, Achieve, Succeed class. It's a 10, 11-week class. It's powerful. I myself have gone through the program. Reverend Joslyn has gone through the program, and the program was founded, and the CEO is Dr. Enoya Foti, all the way in Angola, Africa. She is a grandmother elder. She's a shaman. She's a life coach. She is so much, and big sister and all, so she has taught me. I was already a life coach under the International Metaphysical Ministry. I had a license, a certification with that, but then I went through her program, so which made it even more dynamic. So I'm a dual life coach, you could say. It just gave what I learned on the metaphysical side, even more grounding, to be able to help other women and find their strength and find their power. And it also helped me in the last bit of healing that I needed to heal. And I didn't even realize that I needed. So it brought everything full circle. So my life has been a 180, and I am just planting the seeds and sharing with others what I've been taught. I'm ready to go. So if you're ready to do that life coaching class, or I have a Who Am I coaching class that's available. I have a 8-week master class also, but reach out to Reverend Joslyn. She has so many good tips on intuitive well-being, eating healthy, mind. What I can't think of the word right now because it's too early and I haven't had breakfast.
But we talk a lot about mind body work, our aromatherapy. That's another one that I focus on. So a lot of the practical stuff that can bring your being to life. I have courses on this. So you have a whole range of nutrition stuff that you can get as it relates to your diet, meal plans, and so on. Then we have I have a whole sacred self-care program where you can literally tap into your inner being, and we have the different facet of that course. So you would learn about eating, you learn about dealing with your emotions, your mental health, and everything holistic as it relates to your body, mind, and spirit. Yes.
So we are out here. We're everywhere. I mean, wherever in the globe you can possibly think of. And I'm going to be tapping into a whole lot more women that I know that I've made sisterhood with from the G100. I mean, literally London. I just talked to Dr. Christina from London. She's in the UK. As I said, Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada, United States. We're here. So if, find one of us, and I'm going to create one day, I just don't know when. I'm going to create a booklet, and I'm going to have all of our information on there. That way we can say, okay,
direct
contact. Yes. So if you want to contact one of us, wherever you are, we're here for you. That way you can reach out to any one of us. We're all here. We're all a sisterhood. We're all in this together to help any one of you. So with that being said, I'm going to end the segment. Thank you all. If you have questions, comments, if you want to reach out to us, if you didn't get the information, please post it in the comments below and we will definitely get back with you. That's not a problem. We love you all. And again, thank you for joining us here on the Healing Factor. And we are going to get ready to end the show. Bye, everyone.